This is Gus Summers, and you're watching In-Show Celebrities. This is the time I take every Monday to talk about some of my favorite films and actors. This week, we have another grand star of Hollywood, Mr. John Travolta. This fantastic movie star has had a near 50-year career and still going strong. Well, he started acting after he left high school in the early 70s. And one of his first acting jobs was in a traveling acting touring company in the production of Grease. And from there, he would go on to do parts in television and feature films. And then in 1975, he would get his biggest break portraying Vinnie Barbarino in the television series Welcome Back, Kotter. The series would run between 1975 and 1979. And in between there, he would create some of the most iconic Hollywood characters that the country of the world would get to know. In 1977 came the biggest break that really would launch him into movie star status. It was the film Saturday Night Fever. He would portray Tony Manero as a disco-loving young guy from Jersey who just causes all sorts of havoc. That film would make John Travolta basically the face of the disco movement, and the film would even garner him an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. He would be one of the youngest actors ever to receive that honor. And then, in just a few years, he would do it once again. He would transform the way the country would want to dress and act with another one of his great portrayals and another great movie. Well, first up is that movie that would take him basically from the New York Tony Manero character, turn him 180 degrees and make him a country and western character that people would want to follow in his footsteps, wearing Stetson hats, Wrangler jeans, and cowboy boots. The film Urban Cowboy. He portrays Bud Davis, a young guy who is just trying to find himself a good job so he can go back home and buy some land and raise a family. He comes from a small town, and by the way, I should tell you that he sports a great beard, of course. Fantastic beard. He drives a Ford truck. He comes from a small town. His Uncle Bob tells him that there is a job opening in his factory. And so, but John Travolta decides to go to live with his Uncle Bob to, get this job. Uncle Bob, another great television and film actor. Barry Corbin. Well, when John Travolta gets there, his Uncle Bob and his aunt, let him get settled in and take him to a local bar. The bar is owned by Mickey Gilley, the great country western singer. And it's called Gilley's. So it's a huge place. It's like 3 acres of bar and activities for anyone to go and enjoy themselves. A huge dance floor. A stage where you see Mickey Gilley play, you see other country legends play. You have Bonnie Raitt there, Charlie Daniels. Great scenes, great concerts there. Well, besides Bud, working, he spends a lot of time at Gilley's. And Mickey Gilley, what he ends up doing is putting in different activities that people can enjoy. The main attraction is this mechanical bull, where you pay a few bucks, you get on to ride, you try to last your 8 seconds, and yay. Well, John Travolta gets on there and just, loves it, thinks it's great, and, just, keeps at it, keeps wanting to try it and try to get better at it. Well, meanwhile, he meets a young lady, and they just make an instant connection, and they instantly fall in love. The young lady, her name is Sissy, portrayed by that wonderful actress, Deborah Winger. They end up talking one night and just spending all sorts of time together, and they get married right away. And so he spends his time basically at work, at home, with his wife, Sissy, Deborah Winger, and Gillies. That's basically their life. And so as he gets on he wants to get better at the electrical bull. She wants to try. He doesn't want her to think that, something that girls shouldn't do. And that causes a little friction because, she's a tomboy and she's, I can do it too. So, they're working out their relationship because, they got married kind of quick. Well, anyways, besides that, there gets another character who gets introduced. They first see him at this prison rodeo, and then later see him at Gillies, working the mechanical bull. His name is Wes Hightower, another fantastic Hollywood actor. Scott Glenn. So Scott Glenn is a real rider. He knows how to ride bulls and horses and everything. So when he gets on the electrical bull, it was easy for him. It was no problem. So that kind of gets the of John Travolta. That rubs him the wrong way because Scott Glenn's so good. But what ends up happening is Scott Glenn starts flirting with Deborah Winger, and that really just kind of irks John Travolta. Well, they end up getting into a fist fight. Friends break it up and everything. But his relationship with Deborah Winger, isn't going so well. He works a lot. He's wants to spend time at Gillies. She wants to try to ride the bull, and so on and so forth. What ends up happening is that she ends up learning how to ride the bull in secret from Scott Glenn. John Travolta finds out and just flips out because he thinks that maybe something's going on. They end up getting a big argument, all sorts of things, and they end up, part of the movie, breaking up. And they actually go through a separation where they're going to get divorced. Well, she ends up going to starts dating Scott Glenn, and then John Travolta finds another love interest, and to upset Deborah Winger, but they end up having a relationship. Another wonderful actress, Madeline Smith. She has this beautiful long dark hair, a dimple in her chin. She's very wealthy. John Travolta's just working guy, but they end up having a nice relationship. Scott Glenn is a convict that lives behind Gillies, and Deborah Winger is staying with him, and her and John Travolta aren't doing very well. They're basically going to get divorced. Well, John Travolta gets in his head that he wants to learn to ride the bull because Gillies has offered a contest where there's going to be $5,000 to the winner, whoever can ride the bull. So the rest of the movie is John Travolta learning to ride the bull from his Uncle Bob. He learned that his Uncle Bob was actually a bull rider, like in the 60s, and he shows him this belt buckle and everything, and he says, "Will you teach me?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." So the rest of the movie is him trying to learn the bull rider. But great movie. It's 2 hours, but you don't even think it's that long because you get really involved in the character. Great acting, great just all around film. And like I said, if you didn't know, this movie spurred everyone from New York to LA to wear cowboy boots, Stetson hats. I'm telling you, it was a craze. I remember it. Anyways, next movie. The times being the times, I think it's a great action film. I love the film because John Travolta is just such an American, the way you expect an American to be abroad, especially if someone who is a secret agent, someone who does all the dirty work. The film, From Paris with Love, He portrays a Charlie Wax. Just as I love the way he looks. His head's clean shaven. He's got this goatee. You see that he was working out. He's really, big and strong, and he just wipes the room with anyone who stands in his way. He's in Paris, needing to, which you find out is to find out who's involved in a terrorist cell. So you find that out a little later in the film. In the beginning of the film, you see this American ambassador, doing business, doing government business, and he has his personal secretary. His name is James Reese. He's portrayed by Jonathan Rhys Meyers. He's like I said, he's the secretary to the ambassador, but he does some low-level work for the CIA. You see him, just doing little stuff, that the CIA needs done, but he really wants to get more involved in field work, in covert ops. His big break comes when he gets a call and it says, "Hey, we want you to do something more for us. Someone's coming in. He's stuck at the airport. Go get him out, and just do what he tells you." Well, he goes to the airport, and who's stuck in airport security arguing, calling? They have him, John Travolta. They have him locked in the back room. And they're saying, "You can't take this bag in there," because he had energy drinks. And he's calling him all sorts of names, the F word, MF word, all this stuff. And the guys are all like angry, really want to beat him. And here comes, Jonathan Rhys Meyers, and he says, can't you just leave without it?" He goes, "No, I want it and I need it." And so he ends up taking him out. He's able to claim diplomatic status and leaves. He says, "What's the problem?" He ends up, because he had a gun and some of the other cans. But anyways, he's traveling around, and he's dragging Jonathan Rhys Meyers with him all these places. And what are we doing? Jonathan Rhys Meyers thinks that they're looking into a drug ring, which isn't true. It's just what the leads of that John Travolta was following, and then he reveals to him it has nothing to do with drugs. It has to do with terrorism. And then he finds out, there comes a scene where it looks like Jonathan Rhys Meyers was actually somehow involved, because John Travolta finds his walls with all these pictures on them. Jonathan Meyers says, "I have nothing to do with it." He goes, "I'm only following the evidence. I don't know. Let's just keep going." But they end up like shooting everybody, killing the terrorists, throwing bombs, all sorts of things. I mean, it's crazy. I love it. Love the film, love the action. John Travolta is so great at action. Really shows that he knows how to do these great action movies. I wish they would have done more of this particular character. But fantastic films. Actually, I'm not even scratching the surface. I could sit here for like 2 or 3 hours telling you about movies like Staying Alive, the follow-up to Saturday Night Fever. Look Who's Talking, his role in Pulp Fiction, Get Shorty. How about when he plays the angel Michael? What else? Phenomenon, Face Off, Swordfish, and when he did that cartoon Bolt. Fantastic. I mean, fantastic actor. One of my favorites. And I know he's going to keep growing strong and just keep giving us great performances. Well, that's what I got for you today. This has been Gus Summers, and you've been watching In-Show Celebrities. This is the time I take every Monday to talk about some of my favorite films and actors. Be sure, remember, don't forget to visit us every Thursday at theinshow.com from 1 to 2 p.m. where I host The In-Show. That's where I bring all sorts of celebrities and guests to talk about some of our, whatever it is that they want to talk about, their projects or whatever it is. Of course, remember to visit us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Flickr, Instagram, all those great social media sites. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, Gus has left the building.